This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and for the first time in 2021 I am joined by Big John Fury up here in Manchester. John, how are you doing?
Good to see you again, Andy. You're looking well, my friend, under the circumstances. Good to see you and glad to have you back in my home.
It's good to see you too, John. It's good to catch up, and obviously it's good to see you are, well, I hope he's good spirits and looking healthy yourself. How have you found this year so far, John?
Well, a tragic loss of my mother earlier on in the month, and last month, and it's knocked me about a bit. Still reeling from it, but that's life. We've got to get on with things and put our best foot forward. Keep myself busy and occupied. That's what I intend to do.
I was going to come on to that later on. Obviously, I messaged you and spoke to you briefly after it. No, listen, John, it's the least that anybody should be able to do is just pass on my condolences, and I hope that the funeral and everything around it went okay. Yeah. John, one thing I've never actually spoken to you about is your mother's influence on you growing up, and your family, like Tyson, Tommy, the rest of your children. What was your mother like with you guys growing up, and obviously with her grandkids?
Tough. She was a tough old boot, my mother was, and believe me, she got it all right with us. She was a great mother, one of the best there'll ever be. You know, I had good parents. My mother and my father was great parents. I miss her every day. I'm going to miss her a lot. Can we not talk about this? Makes me still a bit sore with it, yeah?
No, that's fine, John. Yeah, that's all good. That's honestly. No, that's fine, John. Obviously, we'll move forwards. How's life aside from obviously that? What have you been up to? What have you been doing to try and kind of keep your mind occupied in terms of the boxing world and away from it?
Just training, really. I'm up every morning doing 3 to 4 miles running, bit of bag work, few weights at my own pace. Just trying to keep myself busy and occupied in these bad times, you know, these uncertain times, let's say, where everything's not what it seems. So we just get on with it. I'm a person that gets on with stuff, me, no matter what the circumstances is. And it's not affecting me too much. I don't live elaborate anyway. So, yeah, doing as I'm told, really, like the rest of the world.
John, it's difficult times for many people, but one thing with your interviews people always love is you say it how it is, and you always seem to you provoke a good reaction from people, maybe people who are struggling. You've spoken openly about your own mental health in the past. You've spoken about Tyson's, and people always they can correlate between yourself and Tyson and with themselves. So in these difficult times, as we seem to be coming to hopefully better times ahead.
Is that a joke or what? What better times ahead? There's nothing ahead, only control and more control. Get used to it. I'm glad I'm this age I am, because as a young man I'd be flipping backflips in temper. I'd have probably broken every rule in the book if I was a younger man. But I'm middle-aged now, so it's not going to bother me too much. I just feel sorry for the younger generation. You know, because I've lived in a time of great freedom where you could say what you wanted, freedom of speech, all that's gone, hasn't it? And we're living in this new politically correct world, what don't suit me or anybody else like me, because that's the generation I'm from. We lived free and easy and did what we wanted and had our own minds. And like I say, freedom of speech and all that's gone, hasn't it? You daren't open your mouth or you're in the front page of the newspaper, you know, which is absolutely a joke, isn't it, in this day and age? But we've got to get used to it, because that's the state, that's life as we know it.
John, just for yourself, over this past year or so, how have you looked to occupy your time? I know you've said in the past you like to go hunting. I don't know whether or not you've been able to do anything in these times, but what have you been able to do?
Well, I've got an old Russian caravan up there, 1950s military caravan from Russia. I imported it over last year, especially for this job. I'm doing a lot of off-grid living, to be honest with you, walking in the woods with my dogs, hunting and that, you know, living how we should live. You know, and I've got it to do because I don't like the way the job is at the minute. So I just want total freedom in a nice wilderness where I can be myself, gather my thoughts and enjoy God's gift, the earth. You know, and the best things in life are free, I always say that.
Now, John, on to the boxing talk itself, one of the main reasons behind this interview. There's a lot to kind of get through, obviously, involving your sons. Let's start off with Tommy, though. We always usually come on to Tommy last, but let's start off with Tommy because he obviously fought a couple of months ago. Again, he looks good. Yeah. What did you make of his performance?
Well, the kid had only been stopped once in his career, and he was a tough fella, you know, and Tommy did a number on him. But lad said himself, suffered broken ribs afterwards, you know, so the proof in the pudding's eating it, and Tommy's doing what he needs to do with those kind of opponents, you know, and he's learning as he goes along. But I'm going to step him up this time and looking for somebody what's won more than he's lost, you know. So slowly but surely with Tommy's a kid with limited experience.
That's something I wanted to ask you, John. On the back of Tommy's win, there were some people who were critical of his opponents, thinking that he could comfortably face better opposition. What are your thoughts on any criticism thrown Tommy's way with regards to who he has faced so far in his career?
Whatever you do and whatever you don't do, there's always going to be critics, you know, but I know my job, they don't. They're going to work every day doing a 9 till 5. I don't tell them their business, so definitely don't try and tell me mine. The fight game's my business and I know exactly what I'm doing. And if you want to create a champion, do it properly. Rush in, no champion, you're getting beat. It's been proven time and time again. Get it wrong, it's over. And I ain't going to do that with any of my kids. None.
Do you think there is that added sense of pressure because of, not just because Tyson's Tommy's brother, but also because of his exposure on Love Island and his television exploits over his past couple of years? Do you think that's brought the added sense of pressure on him because the different fan base that he will have to most boxers, they're eager to see him kind of not just blasting through opponents, but stepping through the ranks as quickly as possible?
Let me just get this straight. Us Furies don't do pressure. We don't deal with pressure. It goes over our head like water for duck's back. We take things in our stride. You know, and that's what we do. If you're getting pressured up in this job, get out of it and do something you're not getting pressured up on. We don't do pressure. We thrive on this job. We love fighting. That's what we do. Generation after generation. If I see these lads getting pressured up, I say, right, go and dig the road up somewhere. Boxing's not for you. We don't do pressure. As you've seen, Tommy don't get pressured up. If you don't love this job and you're not laughing and jumping for joy when you walk into that ring, get another job. Because it's not going to work for you. You've got to love it. Eat, drink, sleep boxing. And these do. They love everything about it. They love the training. They love the sparring. They love the build-ups, like the ring walks. And more than ever, they like the fight. And when that first bell goes and they swap leather, mate, they love it. They thrive on it.
There's two names I'm going to throw at you. I think you could probably imagine which both of them are for Tommy. One of them being a social media star in Jake Paul. I know you've seen the videos and Tommy's reacted as well. What's been your thoughts on the back and forths between the pair of them?
Well, listen, Jake Paul's doing a great job. Millions of Instagram followers. Fair play to the kid. He's trying his hand in the fight game. But all I'm saying is, you know, can a dog lay eggs? No. It's the same thing with Jake Paul and Tommy. Tommy's a fighter, Jake Paul's a YouTuber. But good luck to the kid. He's trying his hand. He's a big, strong lad. If he faces Tommy, he'll get counted out early.
At the time when the videos were going back and forth, there was certainly a lot of interest in it and he built up quite a following around that subject. Do you think Tommy and Jake could face each other?
Why not? Why not? It's business. This boxing lark is a business. Always has been. Always will be. It generates money. If there's money there and something at the end of the rainbow, we'll fight anybody. You'll fight a robot if he's got to. If there's a robot got a big following, no problem.
I mean, Jake Paul actually fights next weekend, I believe, against Ben Askren, a former UFC.
I don't know who Ben Askren is because I don't follow UFC. I watch it a little bit when there's big names on, but apart from that, I don't watch it. But good luck to him in the fight, yeah. And if we can get something on, yeah, it's good business. Why not?
Will you be watching it purely because it's Jake?
No, I'm not interested at all what Jake Paul does at all. You know, I just get on with my own job. I've got enough to do in my own life without watching YouTubers, you know. But good luck to him. He's done a fabulous job. A lot better job than I could ever do. A lot richer man than I'll ever be. But he's good at what he does. I'm good at what I do.
The other name I wanted to put to you is Idris Virgo. Idris was also previously on Love Island on a different series to Tommy. He's called out Tommy. He'd like to face him.
I don't
Any
discuss
thoughts?
nobody's. Move on.
We'll move on indeed, John. Up to the heavyweights, obviously on to Tyson. A lot of talk about that, obviously, the undisputed bout between himself and Anthony Joshua. A lot of people would love to see it this year, whether it be once, whether it be twice. John, an update for people first and foremost. Where does things stand in your eyes?
Can I just say this, first and foremost? I am sick of hearing about Anthony Joshua and my lad, you know, because it's like this. I've upset every man in the world by saying Anthony Joshua is a tune-up fight. Let me tell you something. Anthony Joshua is a lovely guy. He's a good fighter, good boxer, but he's not an excellent, brilliant fighter. My son is, and I'm just speaking facts. My son is unbeaten. He's done what people only dream of doing, going to other people's backyards and beating reigning champions, long reigning champions, 10-year champions, 5-year champions, most dangerous men in the world. You know, listen, we want the fight. £250 million for a 2-fight deal, who wouldn't want it? It's a business again, like I say. And to all them empty heads out there what think people's ducking and frightened and hiding, Give your head a wobble, please. That's why you're probably working a 9 till 5 job and never going to be anything, because you've got no brains. Because it's a business. We're ducking from nobody, especially a man we know we can beat. We know Tyson can beat him. Unless there's a 6'8" or 9" crossbred Muhammad Ali with Floyd Mayweather on all the greats, Ernie Shavers, Marvin Hagler's all into one, they're not beating my son. And AJ just can't do it. Face facts, people. He's a great kid. Nothing against him. He looks well. He'd do well in the next, big blockbuster movie. He can be a movie star. He can be a sensation on the YouTube like all these Jake Pauls and everybody else. But can he beat Tyson? No, he can't. The stats are there. The facts are there. Tyson will walk straight through him, because that's just how it is. Because Tyson's a brilliant, great fighter in the making. And he's been through a lot. Do you think where Tyson's come from and been through, he's going to be bothered about fighting Anthony Joshua for 250 million quid for a 2-fight deal? I can't wait. Don't get me wrong. The money don't come to me. I live in a broken down house. I drive a broken down car. I don't give a shit about money. Money has only made me very unhappy. Money's destroyed my family, so I'm not bothered about money at all. Let them keep the money and all the glory that goes with it. I just want to prove people wrong. I've never been proved wrong yet. I said he'd smash Deontay Wilder to pieces. I said he'd beat Vladimir Klitschko. I said he'd be 30-0. I said he'd win the ABA title. I said he'd win numerous medals as amateurs. And I'm saying now, he will destroy Anthony Joshua. If it wasn't for Tyson, my son, Anthony Joshua would be champion for a long time. But he can't beat my son. And come fight, when the fight gets closer, he's going to need Paul McKenna, because he's going to fall to pieces in every way, shape or form. He's going to do an Humpty Dumpty 3 or 4 times over in a worse fashion.
John, obviously before it's been spoken...
Like dropping a porcelain vase from a 100-feet tower block. Time it's the floor, there's not going to be much left of it, is there? And that's Anthony Joshua when he faces the great Iron Man, Gypsy King, what can't be beat. We cannot be beat in that ring. My son can't be beat. He can't be beat. And I will bet Eddie Hearn as much as he wants. Eddie, you want to bet? I ain't got no money. My son's got 250 million quid in the bank already. I'll borrow a bit off him and I will bet you what you want, pal. Put your money where your mouth is, and as game as they come, the outcome will be one man, one king, Tyson Fury. That's the name. Take it and shove it at my backside, because get used to it, because that's the way things are in the future. Tyson Fury, undisputed. No problem.
John, in your opinion, why do you think this fight has taken so long to get over the line? Because from the beginning of the year, it certainly seems to have been, we've seen Eddie do interviews where every couple of weeks he said he's getting closer, he's getting closer, he's getting closer. I'm still waiting for an official kind of confirmation, date, venue and what have you. Why do you think it is that it hasn't been able to be signed, sealed, delivered as of yet?
All I can hear is ducks farting left, right and centre. A lot of them. Bob Arum, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, the full lot of them. They're farting worse than ducks. They can't put it on in this climate. There's no money for it. Nobody wants to pay that kind of money with no crowds. Unless we get a normal way of going on and back to how it was in 2018, forget all the big fights. There'll be no fights ever like that ever again, will they? Because people need freedom. People need a mindset. People need to be happy to pay for this kind of thing. And us, we're living now in these uncertain times where nothing's as it seems, in this terrible, terrible situation we're in. Some people would rather be dead. There's people dying every day. The mental health suicide rate's through the roof over it, But are they interested in boxing to that extent to go on? Well, it's $1 billion affair, isn't it? Who's got it? There's only the Saudis got it. And they ain't jumping up and down to put it on, are they? It can't be that great of a fight, can it? They're not jumping up and down to put it on. Because I'll tell you why. The timing's wrong for it. Timing's all wrong. But we'll fight anyway. We'd love to fight. But we get paid whether or not. We get paid. And if it's at Wembley, which I don't think you can ever put it at Wembley, better again, because the fans need 2 British men should be at Wembley or Old Trafford. We shouldn't even not be going down the Saudi route at all, or the American route. We should be doing it here, because that's what the fans want. We've got the both champions. It's been a long time before. We've never had them before. We've got them now. We'll never have them again. And they're not capitalising on it, letting people steal it, because the English are greedy people. They're greedy. And it's not the number one sport. They'll spend billions on football, and yet they can't put this great event on in the UK where people can enjoy it. They deserve it. England deserves it. It's like the second coming of the World Cup in 66. It'll be bigger than the World Cup in 66, and yet they don't want it. They make me sick, a lot of them. The British Empire make me sick. Do you think if Winston Churchill was here staging all this, we'd lose it to the foreigners? No chance. He'd want it here at all cost. You know, they're wasting billions every day on crap. They're wasting billions, locking people down every day. Crap. So why can't they put this great event on here where people can enjoy? You know, but what happens? It'll go abroad, it'll go to Las Vegas. I'm not American. I love the Americans. I'd like to go to that great country, but I'm banned for life from America. I'm sad about that. The Americans are lovely people. But I'm a British man, I'm not an American. Tyson's British. AJ's British. Let them do the business here. And let the fans have a bit of something. They've worked long and hard for it, haven't they? They've been working 1,000 years for an event like this. We've only had one in the last 1,000 years, haven't we? The 66 World Cup. We've never had out since, have we? What have we done since the World Cup? I'll tell you, sweet FA. And now they've got the chance to stage the biggest fight in history and letting it go abroad. Get your hand in your pocket. Shape up. The British Empire, shape up. Stop being negative. Put your best foot forward. Call it on. Insist it being here. And don't let these cowboys, all these managers and promoters, I'm talking about Bob Arum, Frank Warren, I'm talking about them all, Eddie Hearn, Barry Hearn, don't let them steer the ship because they'll end up creaming it anyway. Let the fans cream it this time. Let them get it. Let them enjoy it. And let them take a backward step, all them promoters. They do a fine job. We know that. But at the end of the day, it's these two what's fighting. Without the British fans and the fans on both sides, what have they got? I'll tell you what they got. Nothing.
John, in your eyes, then, let's say if you could take the promoters out of the equation, how do you think somebody should go about making this super fight, this mega fight, the biggest fight that certainly I can remember whilst I've been alive?
You know, if they don't make this fight, you don't slap until the teeth rattle. All of them. Bob Arums, ESPN, Eddie Hearn, all of them. Queensberry, the lot, Frank Warren, BT, they all want slapping if they lose this event. They do. They can't put it on. They can't put it on. I'm no fairer forward what it was 2 months ago. Yes, they're going to say this. Yeah, it's nearly done. It's nearly this. It's nearly that. Yeah, we're getting there. You're getting nowhere. They're getting nowhere, Andy. Nowhere fast. We want to fight. We know what it's worth, the fight. They're not going to box for nothing. It's the biggest fight in history. These boys won't pay in. Very dangerous sport. If they're getting paid 400 million apiece, it's worth every penny. Because anybody can be injured for life and they've all got families and life after boxing. So all I'm saying is, the lot want beaten with a stick, to be honest with you. They can't do it. Want to be men and say, well, look, be straightforward. We cannot put this fight on at this magnitude in this climate and day and age. What they're doing is feeding off the build-up to it. They want the build-up to carry on forever until people get sick of it. And in the end, people won't want to see it because all they're going to do is hear about the build-up and no fight. So people just say, you know what, bugger that. We don't even listen about it no more. Because I'm sick of it myself and I'm his father. Sick to death of it. I'd rather go and play around the golf than hear about it. Because I know nothing's going to happen. You know, it was meant to happen in March. Meant to happen in whatever. February. Now we're here in April again. Oh, what do we do? What do we hear? It's close. We're getting there. It's nearly done. Videos of people training. Christ almighty. I see them training every single day. Training to me don't mean nothing. Get the fight on, let's get it done, or say to the public, put the mind at rest and say, look people, I've shot my mouth off. I've spoke before I've run before I could walk. I can't do it. And let people carry on with their lives instead of keeping people hanging on like on the end of a piece of string. You know, people don't know where they're up to with this fight. Don't know where they're up to. And that's sad.
John, you said you feel that it's kind of being milked at the minute with regards to the build-up. Do you see parallels then between Khan Brook, that was spoken about for years, or Mayweather Pacquiao, spoken about it for years, and when it came about, it wasn't the pair of them at their prime? Do you see any parallels and any comparisons between that build-up to what so far we've seen with AJ Fury?
Listen, Andy, people's got a lot to lose. We got nothing to lose because we're not bothered. My son's made millions of dollars already, pounds, dollars, whichever way you want to call it. He's made millions already. My son is a $25 million fighter without AJ. He earns millions. He's just done $100 million deal with ESPN. We don't need AJ, but what we do need is to put the record straight and let the British public and the world know who is the best man, who is the undisputed champion. After that, I've no more interest in heavyweight boxing. When he beats AJ, which he will, I've no interest in heavyweight boxing at all, because a crop of heavyweights around today, they're good fighters, but they're not special, are they? You're not going to say, oh, this man's going to emulate Muhammad Ali, all the heavyweight greats, would you? Nothing sets me on fire. But what I do want is to let the two men fight. Let's get the decider on, let the British public see it, let the world see it, and that's it then. It's a closed book. And I've offended everybody in the world by saying Anthony Joshua's a tune-up fight. The class of Tyson, any heavyweight in the world, apart from AJ, is a tune-up fight. Because I believe he can beat these men two at a time. I'm watching him every day. This man, my son, is a superhuman being. He's a freak of nature in the boxing division, in the boxing world. He's 6'9". He can do tricks like a circus act in the ring. You know, he can hit these people from daft handles. When they're looking on the floor, they're all over the bosh. They're hitting the shook. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen that quality in a fighter, you know. And I've seen them all. And I've seen AJ's last performance. He needs to go another 10 mile, an extra mile on top to do anywhere near good with Tyson. If that's all he's got against Purewal, he's dead. He'll get annihilated. If that's the best AJ can do, I hope he can do a lot better, because it's no good putting him in the fight with him like that could be a mismatch. Tyson will go straight through him like a hot knife through butter.
John, very simply then, just going off everything you've said, do you see this fight happening over the summer, or if not, do you see it happening this year?
Listen, I don't know. They're waiting for crowds, aren't they? But we're going to wait a long time for crowds, Andy. Life will never be the same again. Get used to it, people. Get used to the control. Get used to being told what to do. Get used to the big brother. Get used to everything. You know, you'll need a passport next to go and have a crap. You know, and some people, like myself, I'd rather be dead than live like that. I'd rather be dead. If I couldn't have freedom of speech and walk where I wanted and go where I wanted without all these superhuman rules, these AI intelligence rules, making us like robots. We're human beings, we're not robots. We've got a brain, we've got a body. Jesus Christ, our Lord and Saviour, give us that. Let us use it. Let us use it. Because that's all I'm saying on the matter. It's never going to be the same again. Ever. It's going to get worse. Hold on for a white knuckle ride, because there's more to come, and I said it first.
To follow up on it, John, just to kind of loop back to it, I don't know whether to take that as kind of an answer on it with regards to do you feel it would happen or not this year? Just your thoughts on it, kind of on that.
I'm not bothered if it happens or not, to be honest with you. I'm pissed off with everything, to be honest and truthful with you. You can tell the way this interview's going. You know, I'm a man with a fire burning inside of me to do something I can't do. Because what do you want to do? You've got to be controlled. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. I don't want to go out my front room anymore. I don't socialise with people no more. Don't speak to people, because everybody's gone robotic. No one's got any sense anymore. You know, the only sense I can get is off an 80-year-old man. The rest of them are total idiots. Brainwashed fools. That's what I call them. God give you a brain, start using it. You know.
Well, John, final question on it all that I want to ask you, simply because you've always been bang on with your predictions, not just on Tyson, but honestly, every fight when I've asked you a prediction, for some reason, it's uncanny how close you are with your predictions to how the fights play out. Tyson AJ happens. How does it play out?
Tell you how it plays out. Tyson will have a good look at him. He'll mess him around for a few rounds, see what he's got, which he knows what he's got already, come down on him heavy. AJ had been knocked spark out and obliterated. He'll either quit on his stool or get KO'd before 8. End of.
John, moving forwards and away from obviously the Tyson talk, just your thoughts on boxing in general. I want to start off with this past weekend. We always talk about, we talk about heavyweights a lot, but I know you just love boxing in general. Carl Frampton retiring this past weekend, unfortunately, unable to become that freeweight world champion against Jamal Hearn. Just your thoughts on the fight, if you watched it, and if not, just your thoughts on Carl's career and now he's retired.
Listen, Carl Frampton's been a good champion from Ireland. Kid's done wonderful things. He's a champion of the world. You know, nobody can take that from him. You know, and but everybody comes to a point where they lose that appetite for the game. You know, and Carl's been through a lot. He's give his all to the game, and I wish him all the best in the future. I enjoyed his career, watched most of his fights. You know, he was a great little champion, little warrior. I liked him a lot, Carl. Good luck to him, whatever he does in the future. Great asset to boxing.
Just about, I think a couple of weeks ago now, we saw Dillian White return and overcome Alexander Povetkin in their rematch. Got his revenge with that 4th-round stoppage victory. Your thoughts on Dillian's win?
Dillian done what he had to do again. You know, it was a good performance, but I wasn't sure about Povetkin. He looked drunk to me from the off. He looked very unsteady on his legs. Looked like he didn't want to be there. I think he just turned up for the money and the payday. But good luck to Dillian White. Done what he had to do. He'll go on to bigger and better things. And a big payday's awaiting Dillian White somewhere.
Dillian's called for a fight with Deontay Wilder. He said he'd love to face Deontay if a fight could be made. Obviously, I think this is all bearing in mind if Fury AJ was to happen. Your thoughts if Dillian faced Deontay Wilder?
Let me tell you something. First and foremost, I don't like Deontay Wilder, but I do respect what he can do. I respect his ability. He's still a very dangerous guy in the division. Take no heed what Tyson done to him. Tyson's a superhuman being of an heavyweight boxer. Not everybody can do that. Be careful with Deontay Wilder, and I don't like him. As a man, I don't like him. He's a bad loser, a sore sport. Everything's wrong about Deontay Wilder as a man. But can he fight? Yes, he can. Is he dangerous? Yes. Has he got immense power? Yes. Can he knock at any heavyweight in the world? Yes, he can. Be careful, Dillian White.
Just quickly stop and start before that timed out there, John. I did move on from Fury AJ. Just want to ask on the Deontay front. How much of a part to play is Deontay Wilder's current situation with regards to the Tyson Fury trilogy fight? Is that still ongoing, like, as seriously as what maybe people are starting to think?
Run that past me again, Andy. What?
So there's obviously a lot of talk about the potential Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury trilogy fight contractually. Oh, yeah. Back in December, I believe it was December when the fight was supposed to have passed the deal to the date to be done by. Now it seems to be still ongoing. It's in the courts. Just with regards to that, in your opinion or what you know, is Deontay Wilder's situation contractually causing any issues with Tyson trying to pursue the fight with AJ?
The answer to that one, I don't know, because I've not been following it. But how could Deontay Wilder fight anyone? His skull's been smashed like an egg. Deontay Wilder wouldn't be fit to fight. But it was all bullshit. We knew he had half his skull caved in from that fight. You know, it's how he was going to fight. You know, and he's just looking to steal money, isn't he? But I know nothing about it. And I don't think it'll have any pressure on AJ at all. Because, you know, business is business. All of them are all friends at the top level. And I'm sure they can sort it out. But do I know about court cases and Deontay Wilder? Don't know, don't want to know.
Moving forwards once again, John, just want to touch on some other fights which are up and coming. Derek Chisora versus Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker teaming up with Andi Lee, who obviously trains your son. Just firstly, your thoughts on that, because I don't know, I imagine you may have seen Joseph up there with Tyson, or...
I have, yeah, I've seen a bit of him, yeah. You know, I like Joseph Parker, I always have. I like Derek Chisora. That's going to be one to watch, you know. I think it's a 50-50. You know, we've got Joe Parker in the gym. He's looking great. He's learned a lot of new stuff. He's improved his fitness levels with Tyson, because Tyson's took him to a new level, which I was quite surprised. Because when Joseph Parker first come, I didn't know how he's ever won a world title. You know what I'm saying? But now he's a different fighter. You know, and can he fight Joe Parker? Of course he can. You know, I think he's going to be up there in the mix again, Joe Parker. Not just saying because Andi Lee's got him and trained him, but I see how he's doing. I see how he's performing. You know, I always liked Joe Parker, and I think he's got bags of ability. The best is yet to come with Joe Parker. He's still only young. You know, it's a tough fight, though. You know, Chisora's on his game. Chisora's one of the best heavyweights still out there. He'll give his all. He comes to scrap every time. One eye won't be missing. I like both fighters. You know, but Joe Parker, for me, the younger man, fresher, and with him working with Tyson and Andi Lee, I see a Parker win. Will it not be easy?
From when Tyson fought Derek, obviously fought him twice, and up until now, how much do you think Derek's improved over that space of time?
A lot. Derek will give any heavyweight in the world trouble today still, because he's one of them. He's a war horse. He's a warrior. He loves the game, like we discussed earlier. He loves to fight. You know, he's been training well. He's got a wealth of experience. He's strong. And if you've got slow feet, don't fight Derek Chisora, because he'll cave the side of your skull in. You know, but let me tell you, this is going to be Joseph Parker's hardest bout, I think. You know, I really do. Because of Chiz's training, which I know he is, and he still believes in himself, you're going to see one hell of a scrap. I'm looking forward to it, you know.
Alexander Usyk and Joe Joyce, that's been spoken about for a while now. I don't really know where things stand with that. But if it did go ahead, John, again, just your thoughts?
It'll probably be the horriblest fight the public will ever see. Because how can a man what's been a cruiserweight deal with a tank like Joe Joyce, an athletical man, big man, 6'6", 18 stone giant, can last. He can do 12 rounds at a canter. You know, who's it got to beat him with? Unless he's going to run around the ring, popping little jabs up and getting tied up and all that, you know. Unless he can run like a rabbit round the ring for 12 rounds and bore the shit out of people. What's the point in fighting Joe Joyce? Joe Joyce, when it comes toe-to-toe with anybody, he'll give anybody trouble, Joe Joyce. Tyson, he'll give Tyson trouble. If Tyson wasn't as skillful as he was, you know, and he had flat feet, and he was a bit of a left hooker 1-2, we wouldn't want to be fighting Joe Joyce. We'd avoid him. But let me tell you, I think Joe Joyce is one of the best heavyweights in the world. I really do. I really do. And he'll prove it. Look what he's done. He's had a handful of fights. He's won everything. He's knocking on the door for a world title. And I think he's got a good chance with any of them. You know, the Usyk and him's a mismatch. I'll be honest with you. Because he's just too big for him. And like I say, if the public want to be bored to death by somebody pinging and running away all night and won't engage, that's what I think the fight will be.
Nathan Gorman, your nephew, and Fabio Wardley have both seemed to be like kind of up for a fight if the British title was to be vacated by Joe Joyce. Your thoughts if a pair of them was to meet? Because I think it's a very interesting bout. Yeah, very interesting bout. Nathan done well last time out. Powerful jab he showed. You know, he powered up the jab, knocked a man caught straight over with it. Don't see it done very often. And let me tell you, Fabio Wardley, again, top prospect, heavy-handed, you know, can take a man's lights out with either hand, but he needs a few more fights, Wardley, I think. Nathan now is banging on the door. He's 20 fights, he only lost one, you know, and at the end of the day, he is improving every day, and so is Fabio Wardley. But if they want to make it for the British title, so be it. But I think Wardley needs a bit more time, a bit more work, because he had no amateur career, did he, Wardley? He's a white-collar fighter, I believe. White-collar fighter. He needs to learn his game proper, doesn't he? Again, are they going to be in a rush for Fabio Wardley and ruin him? There's a prospect there. Look after him. I'm telling these people, who's ever got Fabio Wardley, look after him. Take your time with him. The kid can be a great fighter. He'll be a good man. He's heavy-handed. He sparred Tyson a couple of times. I liked him then, you know. But Nathan, you know, he's had too many bouts. He's a bit too seasoned for him, you know, and who needs it? Andy Ruiz Jr. has teamed up, obviously, with Eddie Reynoso, Sal Canelo Alvarez's trainer. Seems to be shredding the pounds off, and he's going to return against Chris Arreola. Your thoughts on that, and how much of a threat do you feel Andy Ruiz still is to the heavyweight division? Andy Ruiz, if he gets his weight down and trains properly and gets all that flab off him, he's a threat to anybody. Is he going to be a great? No. He's already proved that. You've seen him at his best with Joe Parker. If he don't lose the weight, he'd just do what he's going to do. His life won't change. But if somebody gets him and controls his diet and gets his head right and gets his will to win in gear, it can give anybody problems. You know, Chris Arreola, you know, he's a tough guy. He's done a lot of things in the sport, but he's long past his best. Fights with Chris Arreola ain't going to do Ruiz any good. What's he going to get from them? Ruiz is better than that kind of level, you know. Ruiz, for my money, is in the top 6 heavyweights in the world, and he can fight them all, Ruiz, tomorrow, if he gets his weight right. You know, proved that with Joshua, didn't he? Trained in his lard, as Frank Boren said, and give AJ, the great AJ, all the trouble in the world. AJ still didn't want to scrap with him toe-to-toe, did he? And he was as fat as a pig. Balls are fat, he's in worse shape than me. You know, but Ruiz is a good fighter, because he's a natural fighting man, is Andy Ruiz. You know, he loves the job, don't he? Anybody what's as big as him, as fat as Andy Ruiz, and can do 12 rounds with so-called top heavyweights, you know, you got to take that to him, haven't you? You know. And by the way, Andy, if AJ does let his hands go, he still won't beat Tyson. If he had arms like an octopus and as many hands as an octopus, he still couldn't beat Tyson. So all that bullshit, Andy, saying if AJ lets his hands go, do you think Tyson's going to be stood there so they can land on him? And I'll tell you this much. Tyson will be Andy Ruiz and Joshua on the same night. So that's my opinion on them. But is he a good fighter at this level? Apart from Tyson, yes, he is. I know it might be hard to think of them off the top of your head, John, but if you could think of your top 5 or top 10 heavyweights, how would you rank them? I know you say Tyson first, below that. What we're talking, another era? Just this era in general? This one? I don't know, we've said it all before, haven't we? Apart from Tyson, they're all power one another, aren't they? They're all on level par. You know, it's take your pick who you like, isn't it? They all can destroy one another. But when you put a brilliant fighter against a good fighter, it's a one-horse race. But if you put all good fighters together, they're going to get good fights and they're going to make good fights. And it'll be good for the public to see. You know, but when you put them in front of a man that's a different class altogether, what are you going to get?
Tell you, we're going to get a demolition job.
Canelo Billy Joe, May 8th. Your thoughts? Can Billy Joe be the man to overcome Saul Canelo Alvarez?
He can and he can't. Billy Joe, for my money, if he'd have had more fights, you know, and been active. I'm going on about the activity game again because it's part of boxing. To all you empty heads out there, inactivity plays a big part in the fight game. You know, if you leave an old car parked up for 2 years and try and drive it, it's all over the place. But when you do a few thousand miles, it seems to drive better. Same thing with boxing. If Billy Joe would have been active, he had the capability to run rings around Canelo. But I don't know where his head's at or where he's going to do because he needs a knockout to get a draw in America. You know, even if he beats him on points, he's not going to get it, is he? And Canelo's a strong guy. Very, very strong. He's not going to knock him out, Billy Joe, so where does he go with it? You know, unless it's a total shutout. Look what happened to Tyson when he fought Deontay Wilder the first time. It was 9-3. Give it a draw. Things happen like that to Billy Joe. But has Billy Joe got the skill? Yes, he has. If he has world-class sparring and he's lived and dreamed it and done everything right, he can do it. But he's got a mountain to climb because it's abroad. You know, and like Terry Downs said many years ago, you need a knockout to get a draw in America.
Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez on May 22nd. Josh Taylor looking to become an undisputed champion in his own right as well. Your thoughts?
You know, again, a difficult one. Josh Taylor's done big things. I like him very much. You know, he's good for the sport, good for his country. And I just think, you know, if the timing's right, whoever wants it more can get the victory. Another hard night's work for both men. Can't pick a winner.
And the final thing, John, I just want to get your kind of opinion on the lightweight division. The likes of Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, Teofimo Lopez.
It's right there. Tank Davis is number one. Tank Davis, yes. Seen him, great fighter. He's only young, can do great things. Another brilliant fighter at his weight. Yeah, he's the next Mayweather. Tank Davis. You know, I like him and Teofimo Lopez. Them two. You know, it'll be a great fight between them two. That's the one I want to see. Proper fight, you know what I'm saying? So it's a 50-50 with them two. They're both great, aren't they? When you see two excellent fighters, them's two excellent fighters what can go head to head. They're the fights I want to see. Not a good fighter, an excellent fighter. I want to see two excellent ones fight. And them two are. Teofimo Lopez, Tank Davis. You know, very, 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 very clever. Both big in the game, and they're going to be big, even bigger. Love watching them. Great for the sport and good viewing.
Right, John, just before I leave you to enjoy the rest of your day, as always, I'd like to leave a final word to yourself, for everyone who tune in, watch this interview, for anybody who'd like to just listen to maybe a bit of positivity from you, just to kind of keep everybody's spirits up. As I said to you earlier, a lot of people kind of correlate with your views and how open you are about things and the struggles you've overcome, the struggles Tyson's overcome. So just for everybody who will tune in, final word from yourself.
The thing is, what I say to people is, be steel-minded. Do what you want to do. Don't listen to nobody. Don't let nobody talk into doing anything. If you've got a gut feeling it's not right, 9 times out of 10 it isn't right. Go with your own emotions and believe in your own self and your own close relatives. The only people you can trust today is your blood kin. Friends will let you down. Family will let you down. I've been let down with my family, but that's by and by. But let me tell you something. I only trust one man I trust with my family is this man here, because I know what I say is sincere. I got my family's best interest at heart. You know, believe in yourself, put your best foot forward, and don't let nothing beat you. Coronavirus, quarantine, lockdown, laugh it off. Deal with it. Meet it head on and deal with it and say, I can beat this and I can beat anything they throw at me. I can. You know, if I've got to meet death head on, I'll deal with it. So the rest is child's play to me. And it's coming from a man's mouth who's lived 10 lives in one. I've been to hell and back. I've been to the gates of hell, and here I'm telling you this story. I'm back on top of the world. I've got no money. I've got nothing. I live in a broken down house, like I said before. I drive a scrap 30-year-old Mercedes up and down. Money don't do it for me. Money's caused loads of problems in people's life. You're better off without it. But what you do need in your life is your own inner strength. Call on it. We've all got it. It's called inner strength. And only talk to people who's got your best interests at heart. Don't give valuable time of your life to people who don't care whether you live or die. And the only people who care about you is your own blood kind. You know, some people have got good friends. I've never had a friend in my life, not one. I haven't got any friends, not one friend have I got. But that's by and by. People don't like me because probably I'm an awkward man to get on with. I say it as it is. I'm not one of these men, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to piss on your chips and say, you know what, this, that and the other. I'm going to tell you straight. If I think you're a nail of a man and an absolute knob, I'm going to tell you. People think I'm a knob, but I'm a truthful knob. I'm a truthful knob, and nobody's been able to prove me wrong yet. I've upset everybody in the world by saying what AJ is. I'm just stating facts. I'm not saying nothing wrong about AJ. You know, I'd like to have a pint of beer with a man away from boxing. You know, he'd be good crack. You know, he'd be a lovely young man. He's got a nice family. I'm only talking boxing, you numpties, you empty heads. So don't get your underpants in a twist or your knickers in a twist or whatever, because it's only business, it's only boxing. It's a frigging boxing match, for God's sake. But what I'm saying is, grow a big pair of Coronas and let's march forward and let's do something positive. You know, when people say you can't do it, laugh at them. Laugh at them, because you can do it. There's no such thing as can't. And I'll end on that note. Good luck and God bless you, Andy, and your family.
John, the same goes to you guys as well. I appreciate your time today. I appreciate you letting me come up. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Sorry across aggressive, Andy, because that's how I feel. I feel aggressive. I feel angry. The state of the world, the state of my life. All that glitters ain't gold, mate. Remember that.
John, thank you.
Thank you.